Welcome to Motherhood from the Brain, a podcast guiding moms of preteen girls on how to navigate emotional challenges that are not addressed in school. We share real stories, expert advice, and brain-based methods for handling tough moments. Discover insights to create a deeper connection with your preteen and improve your motherhood journey. Let's tackle the uncharted territory of parenting together. Hosted by professional certified coach, Esther Mbabazi.
Before we begin, I want to share a brief disclaimer. I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or any other licensed mental health professional. On this podcast, Motherhood and the Brain, I share what has personally helped me improve my mental and emotional well-being. My hope is that by sharing my experiences, I might help even one mother out there who is struggling. Welcome back to the Motherhood and the Brain podcast, episode number 31. My name is Esther Mbabazi. Today, I am diving into something that many of us deal with almost. For some of us, it is almost on a daily basis. Worry and anxiety. I am going to look at how, despite our best intentions, worry can spill over onto our children and lead them to feel pressured or stressed. But first, let's take a step back and see where actual worry and anxiety come from. Before I begin, I just want to take a brief moment and acknowledge the feedback I get about the content I share on this podcast. I feel humbled and honored that you take time out of your busy schedules to listen to what I say on this podcast. Someone sent me a message and inquired whether what I teach here works for boys as well, because I refer mostly to girls. And my answer is yes. I myself have a boy and a girl, and I use these same concepts in my daily interactions with them and in my quote-unquote motherhood journey. There are no reviews on Apple podcasts about Motherhood and the Brain podcast, but there is a space there. It says send us a message, and that is how I get messages. That when someone writes a message there, I get it via my podcast host, Buzzsprout. So that is where I get messages. So kindly leave us a review, give us feedback about what you think about our work, how it is helping you, what you would like me to cover. You can either write a review or send me a message on each below the show notes of each podcast episode. There's like a thing you click on and it says send us a message, you write us a message. So if you send me a message, I get it in my podcast host. But the downside is when you send me messages there, I can't reply to you. It's not available. There's no option to do that. I just have to address the messages here. But if you want to go deeper in what I teach, in these concepts that I teach, if you would like to work with me, I have been working on like the side thing. I am still working on it. It's not yet done because I have mentioned earlier. But yeah, technical things, challenges. But if you really want to go deeper in these concepts, if you want to work with me, you can send me an email on esther@masteryourwellbeing.com. It is ESTHER @masteryourownwellbeing.com. ESTHER@masteryourownwellbeing.com. Let's get started. So let's start with something that you may not have considered, something that plays a role in the worry and anxiety, and that is evolution. For millennia and millennia ago, mothers were assigned the role of protectors and nurturers, as the men went to hunt and gather food, the women stayed home and took care of the children. So a mother's role was to ensure that her child not only survived but thrived within the tribe or community. So this instinct to worry comes from a very real need our ancestors had to protect their children from danger and raise them to be accepted within the tribe or community. So this was critical for survival. You can imagine a time when your child's behavior could actually mean life or death. If your child did not follow rules that the tribe or community had set, or they did not fit in, they were at risk of being left behind or thrown out of the tribe. So naturally, mothers took this role of monitoring and nurturing, ensuring their children were acceptable in society's standards. So, when you worry, you do not have to beat yourself up. It is a legitimate thing that meant life or death. So, worry comes from our thoughts. I know I have said this 1,000,000 times. Worry and anxiety come from your own thoughts. So the number one way of treating worry or dealing with worry and anxiety is to examine what you're thinking, to look at what you're thinking. What is leading you to feel worried? Why are you worried? Is to take a look at that. That is the whole premise of this podcast, is the number one thing. If you feel worried or anxious, it is because of what you're thinking. Now, it may be conscious or unconscious. It may be on the surface or it may be a little deeper. You need to do a little digging, like we say, to find out why you are worried. So we create awareness of what we are thinking. We bring awareness to what it is that we are thinking. And we recognize our thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. I know this is easier said than done, but it takes practice, just like anything else, just like learning a language, that's like driving a car. Everything takes practice to master. So when you learn how to bring awareness to what is going on in your head, then you will be able to nip worry in the bud, like they say. And many episodes ago, I did an episode about journaling. Journaling is one of the ways to identify what things, thoughts, sentences that lead you to worry. You have to write things down. So I kindly ask you to go back and listen to that episode about journaling. And the way I teach journaling is the way that I was taught journaling. Journaling for the sake of journaling does not help much. But when you journal and you look at your thinking, the sentences in your brain, and you change them, that is when you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So back to today. So like I say on this podcast, thoughts are sentences in your brain. They are neutral. They don't mean anything unless you assign them meaning. The protective brain, that part of the brain that is there to look out for threats, is just doing its job of looking out for you and your child. It does not mean anything. It is always on, scanning the surroundings, what is going on, what is threatening, what might be threatening, what might kill you, what might kill your child. So that brain is just doing its job. The thing is, that part of the brain does not know that the difference that today we live in a totally different world and the threats are totally different from the threats our ancestors experienced. Like I said, mothers had the tremendous task of raising children, so they were under pressure to raise perfectly well-rounded children because a child's behavior was a reflection of the mother's parenting abilities. So fast forward to today, our worries, our threats have changed. In the society we live in today, for example, there is a lot of emphasis on school grades, on going to school. I don't know where you grew up, but where I grew up, we were primed. It was like drilled in our heads to get good grades. If you got good grades, if you went to a good school and you got good grades, then you got your degree, then maybe your master's degree, maybe your PhD and all these other degrees in between and other certifications in between. Then you came out of school, you could land a dream job with benefits and all these things, then you would have a successful life. You can imagine growing up listening to that. Growing up, your mother growing up being told that, then they raise you telling you the same thing. So as a loving and caring mother, you might become anxious when your child is not getting, I don't know what good grades what good grades means. You know? So this can lead you to feel pressured, to hang around their backs, to breathe down their neck, to make them do homework, to make them study. Because deep down, you are scared that if they don't have good grades and they don't go to university, a good university, and they don't get, like I mentioned earlier, maybe they will not thrive in the world. And then you will feel bad, and then you will feel like a failure. And maybe society will say you did not do your job, you're a bad mother. Like this is all that is fueling that anxiety and worry. So you put pressure on your child to study because you think that if they don't study, they will fail in life. Maybe you worry about your child's safety. You check on them too much. You don't let them have any freedom, which can make your child feel like they are not trusted. Or maybe you worry about their future too much. You might be thinking about their future, like what will they do? How will they be in the future? And this will lead your child to feel like they have to figure everything out now, or maybe they have failed if they don't have everything figured out by now. So they think maybe they have failed, maybe they cannot do anything to please you. Like they always have to do things to please you. This is what happens when we worry and we don't take care of our worry. It spills over onto our kids. Maybe you worry about their social life. If you are anxious about their preteens friendships. Preteens, what I have learned and what I'm learning, there is a lot of drama in preteen friendships. So if you are very protective and you worry a lot and you have anxiety over their friendships, you are going to get too involved and overprotective, which will lead your child to feel embarrassed and suffocated. And then before you know it, you are fighting with her over her friendships. This is how it works. You worry about something, you don't take care of it, it spills over and you end up creating something that you did not want to create in the first place. So I just want you to know, if you're new to this podcast, the part of our brain that protects us, that scans our environment for danger, is just doing its job. It's showing you all these things. That is part of its job. But it does not know that we live in a totally different world today than our ancestors did when they lived in tribes, in caves out there on the savannah. And there is no other way around it. You can't switch that off. You cannot switch your protective brain off. But you can calm it down. You can talk to it and when it is throwing sentences at you, you don't have to believe them. This is where the believing comes in. Your brain tells you something and you immediately believe it and you swiftly move with it. You don't have to do that. You can train your brain not to believe everything it comes up with. So, because if we keep controlling our kids because of the way our brain is made, it is not a good place to be for you and for your preteen. This is one of the reasons children become defiant when they feel suffocated. They feel rebellious. Just imagine yourself. If somebody is constantly breathing on your neck, if somebody is constantly telling you what to do, somebody is constantly criticizing what you're doing, you feel pressured and you want to push back. And you can't even keep doing that because it is exhausting. It means you have to keep up. You have to keep up because children evolve as they grow the same way that we do. And if you're using this tactic now to kind of control them, if they grow within 2 years, you have to come up with a new tactic. Like, it is exhausting. You can't keep doing that because you have no control over your child's actions. So the question is, what do we do? and this is what I teach. We take care of our own worries and feelings of anxiety ourselves. We take care of them ourselves. And trust me, I know firsthand how awful it is to be anxious. But it is not dangerous. Feeling anxious is not dangerous. It is not harmful. It will not kill you. It is just a sensation, a feeling, a vibration in your body that is coming up because of what you are thinking. When you give yourself permission to experience it, to be with it, you will find there is nothing to be scared of. You will find it will pass. But the problem is when we feel anxious and we don't give ourselves permission to feel. This is what causes problems. We feel anxious and we want to get away from that feeling. For me, anxiety feels like a burning sensation under my skin, like I'm burning under my skin. So what do? It depends. You have to go in your body and locate it. You have to go and locate where is it, what is it that you're feeling. You have to go and try to find it and describe it. What is it? What is it that you feel? That is where we start to calm the brain down. And when you locate it, like in my example, I feel burning sensation under my skin. And when I locate that, then I go back and say, okay, I feel a burning sensation under my skin, like my whole body is sort of burning. That is how it feels to me. Oh, I feel like this because then I have to locate what I'm thinking that is leading to that, because there is always something you're thinking that is leading to that. Okay, I think because I'm feeling a burning sensation under my skin. It is awful. It doesn't feel good at all. I'm feeling like this because my child will not do homework on time. My child hasn't done homework today. My child refused to do homework. My child went out to the mall my child went to the mall or went out to see her friend and they haven't been back and it's getting late. I am calling my child and she's not answering. Like, you have to locate what it is that you're thinking that is leading to you to feel like that. And then when you are done locating what it is that you're feeling, and when you find why you are feeling like that, you have to go back and treat your protective brain with kindness. The protective brain is just doing its job. It's not the enemy. It's just doing its job. It does not know better. So you go back and you treat your brain. I understand brain. I understand you think my child is in danger, but we don't know anything. I just called her phone and it is off. She hasn't been back since you were, like, whatever it is. You speak to your brain kindly, because if you don't, it will go in high drive, overdrive. You'll speak to your primitive brain, protective brain, the same way you would speak to your child if they dropped their ice cream cone at the park. Your child is feeling upset because their ice cream cone fell on the ground and it splashed everywhere and they feel upset. It is a big deal to them. So you can't snap at them. You gently calm them down, and when they are calmer, maybe you can get them a new ice cream cone. But deep down, they will be fine. You understand that they will be fine. But in the moment, for them, for you, your child does not understand that. Your child thinks the world is over. My ice cream fell on the ground. My world is over. I can't live like this. That is what is going on for them. So we treat our brain the same way we would speak to a child who lost their ice cream on the ground. It is okay. You'll be fine. I understand, brain. You think this is dangerous. We will be fine. We don't know anything yet. My child will be back. Maybe we have to find out more why she's not doing homework. Maybe she's struggling. Like, you have to calm your brain down. That is where it starts. You start there and you calm your brain down. And then when your thinking brain comes online again. Because when your protective brain is in overdrive, the part of your brain that does executive functioning, thinking and planning and focusing is offline. Those two parts of the brain cannot be online at the same time. So when you are feeling anxious and very worried, your thinking brain is not online. But when you calm down your protective brain and you gently talk to it and it goes back to sleep, like we say, then your thinking brain will come online again. In the case of homework, then you start being curious. Like, where is this worry coming from? Like, what am I interpreting my child not doing homework today or being slow with homework or whatever your situation is? You start being curious and you ask yourself questions as you answer them. Is it, for example, in the case of homework, if you think they are failing, they are not doing their homework and they will fail in life, is it really true? Is it really true that to be successful in the world, you need to have done your homework? How were you? It's good to look at yourself. How were you at their age? Did you find homework fun? Okay, let us say you did find homework fun. Why do you expect your child to be the same way? Because our children are their own people. They're their own people with their brain and thought processes and everything. They are not us. They are their own people. It doesn't mean that because you did your homework diligently, that your child has to do their homework diligently. It doesn't mean that. That's just a thought error. So you question, you become curious about all these things that your brain is throwing at you. What if it is possible that some people are successful, but they didn't have good grades? What if it's possible that some people are successful, but they did not do their homework? What if it's possible that some people are, quote, unsuccessful, quote, but they did their homework? Like you ask yourself all these questions and you answer them. And before you know it, you will be calmer. You'll be more calm. Your child has a human brain. And for what we know, the human brain likes to put off doing things that it finds challenging. Maybe she's just putting off the homework because she's struggling in a certain area. Maybe she needs help. But if you are not curious, you will not find that out. If you exert pressure on them to do the homework, they will not do it. But if you become curious, maybe you will ask them why they are not doing their homework. Maybe they are struggling. Maybe they need extra help. I don't know. I'm just giving examples. So curiosity is the way to deal with worry and anxiety. What am I making this mean? How am I interpreting my child not doing homework? Am I putting pressure on my child to do homework because I am secretly worried the teacher might think I'm a bad parent? Because that is real. That is real. Teachers can be judgy. That is real. Maybe that is what is driving you to feel worried. You are worried about what the teacher will think about you, the parent. So you exert pressure on your child to do homework so the teacher does not think that you are not a good parent. What if you let the teacher be judgy? What if you let the teacher think that you're not a good parent? Let me share a story. We were having homework struggles with my child. She was 10. And every evening was a struggle. So because I have done this work, I sat her down and I told her that from now on, you are responsible for your own homework. I'm available from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. if you have any questions, if you need help with the homework. And that's it. I did not ask. My husband did ask a few times, but I did not ask her if she had done it or not done it. No, I did not ask, but my husband did, and they had the same struggles. And I felt uncomfortable. It was awful. I felt like I was failing her, but I had the awareness that what I had been doing before wasn't helping either. I had been asking her and nudging and begging, and she was not doing homework. I asked if she needed help. She said no. Kids. And fast forward, I think we did that for 6 months, for half of the school year. I did not ask her to bring her homework, so we do it. I said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. You're 10 years old, and when the teacher asks why you didn't do homework, you're in a position to tell them why. And I think the teacher didn't ask. The teacher waited until the parent-teacher conference. And the teacher pulled out her book and asked her why she had not done homework on many occasions. I was not there. My husband went with her. I couldn't go, so my husband went with her. And when she came back home and I came back from where I was, she told me, Mom, it was very embarrassing. The teacher pulled out my book and opened all the pages I had not done. I wanted to hide under the table. I wanted to disappear. I felt so embarrassed. So I asked her, then what? What can you do now about it? From now on, I'll be doing my homework the moment I come home. And I can tell you, she has done that. But it felt awful when I let her do that. It did not feel good. No, but I was willing to feel uncomfortable because of my decision. I felt uncomfortable. I was willing to let the teacher think whatever she wants to think about me because I can't control that. What I can control is myself and how I'm feeling. So I let myself be with my discomfort. I let myself be uncomfortable when I saw her not doing homework. I let myself be uncomfortable. And many months went by until that parent-teacher conference. And now things are different. She will come with the homework. If she needs help, she will come with homework, asking for help. I no longer have to beg. I no longer have to convince and coerce. No, because of that experience she went through with the teacher and her dad, where she wanted to hide under the table because the teacher opened the book and she had not done a lot of homework. That experience taught her something, if that makes sense to you. Sometimes we just have to let them go through things. As we go through things, like I said, it was very uncomfortable for me because I did not grow up like that. I grew up where my mother was breathing down my neck to do homework. I had to sit by the table and do homework. There was no other way around. So letting go of that and embracing something new was very challenging, but rewarding. This is what I mean by we take care of our own worries. We do not go, if we feel worried, we don't go out there and try to control our children to do what we want to do so we don't feel worried. It doesn't work. It works only short time before you have to come up with a new method, a new strategy, a new trick. But when you learn to deal with your own worry and anxiety, to take care of yourself, to be with worry, you build emotional muscle, you stop yelling at your kids, and you mirror to them what you want them to do. This is the essence of this episode. So, go try it. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good at all, but it strengthens you. It removes yelling, because what causes yelling is the feeling of powerlessness. Because when you're exerting pressure on your child and they are fighting back, you feel helpless. This is what leads to raising voices in an attempt to get them to do what it is that you want them to do. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Talk to you again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Your time means the world to us. If you found this episode valuable, we would be immensely grateful if you could spare a moment to visit Apple Podcasts and share your thoughts through a review. Your feedback plays a vital role in helping fellow moms discover our podcast and enrich their own motherhood experiences. Take care, and bye for now.